You reflect my soul.
Hello. Today I'm going to be going into how I remade the really classic ARTBAT sound. It's a sick techno sound, and I think I've gotten it pretty close, and I've kind of found the best elements to put in your own techno tracks. I'll go through and explain the different elements and the structuring of the track, and show you a little preview of a track I've been working on myself as my techno alias Hocus. So yeah, stick around and you'll be learning some sick techniques. So let's do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play what I've made, and I'll kind of go through all the sounds and how I've layered them all and everything like that. So yeah, enjoy.
You reflect my soul.
So yeah, there's quite a lot of sounds. It sounds pretty simple, but it's actually quite a lot of sounds together. So I'll go through and explain firstly how I made this really cool Woop synth that you can hear from the Monolink remix they did. So basically, it's a lot of filtering. So I've got an attack envelope that just raises in volume very quickly, which makes, if I play some notes, you can hear that it does re-trigger at different times. So I've got LFO1 controlling the main filter. It's also controlling the filter distortion frequency filter as well. And you can see it's kind of generated by random. I've got velocity control hooked up to the matrix of the filter cutoff of envelope 1. And what that does is means like when these notes are different heights, as you can see here, they have different volume automations. So if you hit them harder or softer, they'll be different in the way that they hit. So if you listen, you can hear how they accentuate. Basically, the two oscillators are pretty simple. It's a sine wave, and I'm modulating the sine wave with a saw wave. One's got some detune on it, and the blend is set to be in the middle. I'm using a mix to smoothen out the sound, and I'm also using a equalizer just inside, just to cut some of the bass off. There is a massive effects chain on here. So if you look, there's a camel fat that's just got a bandpass on it, which I'm using to really accentuate that mid frequency. I've got an ohmer side, which is controlling the distortion of the filter. I've got some pretty serious EQing happening here to cut the low frequencies and cut some high frequencies out, as well as boosting the middle frequencies. I'm distorting again after applying some parametric EQ. Then I've got a LFO tool, which I'm using to just control the volume automation, just so it hits underneath the kick. I've got another quite severe EQ there as well, which is really driving that mid-range of the sound again. And then I've just got a nice wet reverb. I'm also sending it to a delay bank, and then I'm side chaining the delay to the sound. So if you look what's happening here. And that's that first sound. So if we keep going through the other main sounds here, obviously we've got a pretty nice little simple kick drum. Sorry, I'll go back into his section. So for listen, got just a nice simple, pretty clean kick drum. I've also for the bass used another serum. And if you look here, actually, sorry, that's not the bass, this is the bass. So I've layered a serum that looks like this. So this is the bass. And if you look at the MIDI, it's like this. And if you notice, there's actually a delay on there. There's a 1/8 and 1/4. So that makes the, and it's got a ping pong delay on it as well. So that separates the sound from each side. So if you listen. And then I'm also filtering it quite heavily with a low pass filter. And then I'm also modulating the two waves together. And I've got a sub that's just sitting just to fill out the bottom of the mix as well. I also have layered here a percussion noise. And that just helps to just bring the bass through the mix a bit more. And so if we listen to all three together, the kick, the bass, and that, it's pretty much going to be pretty ARTBAT-y. You know, the rest are just, so this is a perk sample that I've got. Oh, it's actually a triangle sample. And if you listen to it, I'll turn the delay off. It just hits like that, and it also hits at different velocities. Then I'm just sent it to a reverb, distal reverb, and it's fully wet. And then I'm also using LFO tool to control the volume. So if you listen to it. And yeah, that's pretty much the beginning of the drop. And yes, it just keeps building basically. I'm adding in some ambience that comes in with a filter and some hi-hats. And yeah, it just keeps building. For the vocal as well, it's actually my voice. So let's have a listen to that because it's quite an interesting element. So if I take the auto-tune off, you'll hear how terrible my singing is.
Why can't I breathe when no not around?
Oh wow. But with an auto tune on, tuned to F sharp minor, and I've turned down my throat length and I've turned the retune speed all the way up. Have a listen to it now.
Why can't I breathe when no not around?
And it's got a huge delay on it, like a massive delay, 11-second delay. And to get that really thick vocal, that's actually a combination of effects. So I'm using a compressor. Wow, I'm terrible today. I'm using a compressor to really flatten. I'm basically brick walling the vocal, so the peaks are pretty flat. Then I'm multi-band compressing the vocal as well, pretty heavily. So if you look through, I'm compressing the lows, the mids, the highs. Generally, what I like to do is just preset sound guidizer A, and then just change the low and high frequencies. And then, you know, sort of, because it's a sound guidizer preset, it's a good kind of standard preset to sort of use on vocals and stuff like that. Got a big reverb on there. I'm pulling down around this, 6 or 7K region as well, because it was quite harsh. Bringing up the mid frequencies. I've got a de-esser on there as well, and yeah, lots of reverb. And then I'm also running it through a final limiter just to make sure that the sound doesn't hit too high of a volume, basically. So if you look at the brick wall, I'm basically brick walling it again.
Why can't I breathe when no not around?
And yep, so once you've got those main elements there, it's basically just techno is just adding a lot of percussion instruments and hi-hats and stuff like that. But in the ARTBAT song, there's also an addition of like it's not sort of a arpeggiator, more of a pluck. So what I've done is sort of created something like that as well. And you can hear it here. And that's going through, a bit of chorusing, multi-band compressor. It's basically OTT here. It's also got a pretty solid delay on it, a 1/16 time signature. Then a reverb and an EQ just to smoothen it out a little bit as well. And if you listen to it, I filter it in slowly, so it comes in. And yeah, that's pretty much it. For the break, I've kind of gone with a much more progressive kind of sounding break, which consists of some chords, a detuned saw, and another detuned saw, which I'm using as a bass. So if you listen, this is the chords. And then I've got this, which is a very detuned saw, two detuned saws actually, and this is basically controlling the low pass filter down. It's got a nice multi-band on it as well. And then I'm using this as the sub, which is another very detuned saw, and it's distorted as well with a sine shaper to give it that real nice thick sound. And then I've low passed the sound quite heavily as well. There's a lot of low passing in this type of music. Well, the way I design the sounds anyway, I find it easier just to have a nice carrier signal and then just low pass it out, smoothen it out. And if we listen to it, this is what it sounds like.
Why can't I breathe when I'm not around? You reflect my sound. Why do I try so hard? Why do I try so hard when you're around?
You kind of get the idea of the basic structuring of the track. And if you'd like me to delve into any of these things further, I can definitely do that. Just leave a comment below. Like this video because it really helps with the YouTube algorithms and helps my videos to get more plays. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm always releasing tutorials, I'm always releasing new stuff, and I'm doing a few aliases now, some more hidden and some also more public. But yeah, this track will be out very soon. I've just got to do the final finishing touches to it, to mix down everything like that. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gets you a little bit closer to that sound that's really, really crazy 2020. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Ciao.